שחקי שחקי על החלומות, זו אני החולם צח. שחקי כי באדמה מי, כי עודני מאמין בה. שחקי כי באדמה מי, כי עודני מאמין בה. כי עוד נפשי דרור שואפת, לו בחרתי על עגל פז. כי עוד אמין גם באדם, גם ברוחו רוח עז. כי עוד אמין גם באדם, גם ברוחו רוח עז. שחקי שחקי על החלומות, זו אני החולם צח. שחקי כי באדמה מי, כי עודני מאמין בה. שחקי כי שחקי שחקי על החלומות, זו אני החולם שר, שחקי כי באדמה כי יודע.
So I'm going to introduce you. It says, please give to whomever's doing announcements.
You're going to introduce me, and
and then it'll all be you. Do you
Okay.
prefer a regular size or the jumbo size?
no, this is already here. I'm new to this book, so I'm just going
It
to...
starts on page 3 or something. Unless you do Yedid Nefesh or...
Well, what do you guys normally do?
Again, we usually do Yedid Nefesh.
Okay.
But
Do you do Shalom Aleichem at the beginning or the end?
either or.
Oh, okay.
You know, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. Okay. This is really high up.
It is really high up. And you know what?
It's on wheels, that's
Yeah,
why.
it's on wheels, but there is a stool here.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
if you want, you can move over.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that confuses me, and I'll tell you, Rabbi Weiss is really good at this, the TV's over there, but the cameras are up there.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I always look at the TV, and that's not, it's not great, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Rabbi David Cantor holds a bachelor's degree in arts and laws from the University of Manitoba and master's degrees in Hebrew letters and in rabbinic studies from the American Jewish University. Forgot to take this off. He received his rabbinic ordination in 2000 from the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies in California and has served congregations in Manitoba, Maine, Connecticut, Tennessee, and California. He met his wife Kedma, a preschool teacher in high school in Manitoba. In his free time, he enjoys sailing but hasn't done it in a while. Rabbi Cantor believes in Judaism as a vision of the good life, a way of bringing meaning into all we do, and a gift to be shared. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Cantor to the Bima.
Good evening, everyone, and hello to everyone out there in streaming land. Let's begin our service tonight on page 10. Yedid nefesh avarachaman meshoch avdach eretz honach Yaharutz avdach kamo ayal ישתחווה מול הדרך, כי ירב לו ידידותך מנופת סוף וחותם. הדור נאה זיו העולם, נפשי חולת אהבתך. אנא אל נא רפאה לה, בהראות לה נועם זיווך. אז תתחזק ותתרפא, והייתה לך שפחת עולם. ותקיימו רחמך וחוסנה על בן אוהבך, כי זה כמה נכסוף לראות בתפארת עוזך. אנא אלי מחמד ליבי, חוסנה ואל תתעלם. הגלנה ופרוס חביבי עלי את סוכת שלומך. תאיר ארז מכבודך, נגילה ונשמחה בך. מהר אהוב כי בא המועד, והונני כי מעולם. We begin Kabbalat Shabbat, which is a sequence of psalms to welcome the Sabbath bride, one psalm for each weekday, and then Lachadodi to introduce the bride and convince her to come in the room, and then the psalm for Shabbat afterwards. For each psalm, we begin at the beginning and end at the end, and we leave the middle quiet because our job is as individuals to read through the psalms in the language of our choice, or to read the commentary, or just to sit and enjoy. And if we were singing all the way through everything, that would be confusing. But some of the psalms we will sing all the way through. Page 11. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yishenu, nekadma fanav betodah, bizmirot nariya lo, nekadma fanav betodah, bizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mekere aretz v'toafot arim lo, asher beyado mekere aretz v'toafot arim lo, asher lo hayam v'hu asahu. We continue on the next page, page 12. Arba'im shana kut bedor, va'omar amto elevavhem, vehem lo yedeu derachai, asher nishbati ve'api, im yavohun el menuchati. Page 13, let's sing together. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai baruch hu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nifalotav, ki gadol Adonai umhulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim, Ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, v'hadonai shamayim mahasa, hod v'hahadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Se'u mincha uvo lechatzorotav, Yishachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Chilu mepanav kol haaretz, Imru v'goyim Adonai malach, Aftikon tevel baltimot yadin amim b'mei sharim yismachu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram mayam umlo ya'al sadai sherbo az yirananu kol atzayar lifnei Adonai Kiva lishpat haaretz yishpat tevel betzedek ve'amim be'emunato ayalalai yalalai lalai yalalai lalai. Page 15. Adonai malach tagel haaretz yismehu yim rabim. And we can continue privately. On page 16, Shoma v'tismach Zion, v'tagelna benot Yehuda, leman mishpatecha Adonai, ki ata Adonai elyon, al kol haaretz, meod na'aleta al kol Elohim, Ohave Adonai sinura, shomer nafshot chasidav, miyad rashaim yatzilehem, or zaru al tzadik, liyishrei lehev simcha, simachu tzadikim badonai, v'hodu lezecher kodesho. Page 17. Mizmor shiru ladonai, shir chadash, Ki niflaot asa Hoshia lo yemino uzero kodesho Hodia Adonai Yeshua le'enei hagoyim ki lahatzikato zachar chato ve'emato levet Yisrael, ay, rahu kol afsei haaretz, et Yeshuot Eloheinu hariu l'Adonai, kol haaretz, pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru, samru l'Adonai bechinor v'kol zimara, bechatzot tzrot, v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, ay, yiramayam, umelo tevel ve'yoshvei v'naharot, yimcha uchaf, yachad arim yeranenu, lifnei Adonai kiva Yishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel, besedek, ve'yamim, be'mesharim. We're on page 19. Adonai malach yugazu amim, Yoshev keruvim tanuta aretz. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim, make the world quake. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lecha kadsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lecha kadsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Page 21, we rise as we are able. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai, kavod va'oz, ay, havu l'Adonai, kevod shemo hishach, havu l'Adonai b'hadra kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim Adonai al hamayim rabim Kol Adonai akoach ay Kol Adonai behadar Kol Adonai shover arazim Vayshaber Adonai et arzei ha-Levanon Vayarkidem kemo egel Levanon Vesiryon kemo Venereimim ay Kol Adonai Chosev lahavotesh Kol Adonai Yachil midbar Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh Kol Adonai Yacholel ayalot Vayechesof Yearot Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod ay Adonai Mabo Yashava Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitzen Adonai Yevarech et Amo Vashalom. We may be seated. Let's continue with Lecha Dodi, page 23. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala penei Shabbat, nekabala, shamor vezachor bedibur echad, hishmiyanu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem l'tiferet ve'litehila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabala Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabala mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzi imetachavecha ravlach shevet be'emek habacha vehu yachamol alaychem la lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabala hitnari me'afar kumi livshi big day tibatami al yishai beit alachmi korvail nashi geyala lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabala hitorari kiva orechu mi Ori, shir daberi kevod Adonai Elohim nigla Lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat. Nekabala lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat. Nekabala lo tevoshi velo tikalami matish tochachi umatehemi bach yechasu aniyeh yahami venivneta iratila Lecha dodi lekala penei Shabbat, nekabala lecha dodi lekrakala penei Shabbat, nekabala ve'hayulim shisa shosayik verachaku komevalayich yasisalayich Elohayich Kimsos chatana kahala lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabala lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabala yamin smoti farotzi ve'et Adonai taritzi al yadish ben partzi venismecha venagila Lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom materet bala gam besimcha uvesochola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabala lecha dodi lehikrakala penei Shabbat nekabala. Before we're seated, let's take a moment to turn towards the back of the room, towards Eric and his family. And on page 26, we can say these words of comfort. Hamakom yenachem etchem Betoch Sha'ar of Leit Zion v'Yerushalayim. May the divine comfort you, along with all the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We may be seated. Page 27. You guys like to sing, don't you?
Very much.
Good. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Lehagid baboker chastecha Ve'emunatcha b'haleilot Alei yasor ve'alei navel Alei higayon bechinor Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ki simchtani Adonai b'foalecha B'maaseh yadecha aranen Ma gadalu maasecha Adonai Me'od Amahu Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ish ba'ar lo yeda Ukesil lo yavin et zot Bifrach reshayim kemo esef Yatzitzuko pa'alei aven Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Li shamdam adeyad Ve'ata me'arom le'olam Adonai Ki hinei oyevecha Adonai Ki hinei oyevecha yovedu Yitpardu kol pa'alei aven Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat Tov Lord l'Adonai ולשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ותרם קראם קרני, בעלותי בשמן רענן, ותבט עיני בצהרי, וקמים עלי מרעים תשמענה אוזני. צדיק תמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובן בצבע, דשנים ורעננים יחיו להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולה תבוא. Adonai malach geut lavesh, Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor. Mikolot mayim rabim, adire mishpereyam, adir b'marom Adonai, edotecha nehemnu meod, levetcha nava kodesh Adonai, leorech yamim. We can continue on page 30, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divara kirute v'yemlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarak le'alam u'lamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yithalal shmei t'kudashat brichu, le'ela min birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran be'alma v'miru, Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. We may be seated. I was asked to say a few words this evening. But before I say a few words, I want to first of all, thank you all for having me here as a guest, and my wife, Kedma. You're a lovely community. I want to talk a little bit about communication, because I'm going to attempt to communicate. And I want to remind us of the purpose of communication. The purpose of communication is an exchange of ideas. I want to know what you are thinking. You want to know what I'm thinking. That's how most conversations go. Now, when we speak with people, sometimes we have an alternative agenda. It's not just, I want to know what you think. Maybe I don't. And it's not just, I want you to know what I think. It's more than that. I want to change your mind. And I'm going to tell you straight up, if that is the purpose of your communication, you're most likely to fail. Changing a mind is something that happens very rarely. When it does, write it down on your calendar. So tonight, I'm not going to try to change your mind on anything. I'm going to try to communicate what I believe and how I come to that belief and how it's rooted in Jewish values. And at the end of it, you'll be able to say, you know, this is why Rabbi Cantor believes this. He may be right, he may be wrong, but that's why he believes it and I understand it. I'd like to talk about welcoming the stranger. This has been in the news recently. I did not check the figures. Last time I checked, there were 2 million refugees from Ukraine. A refugee is someone whose place where they normally live has become untenable and they need to leave. And there is some resistance to caring for refugees. Statistically speaking, if this room is a representation of America, it's about 58% believe that we have a responsibility to take care of strangers, About 41% believe, no, we don't. If you further divide the congregation according to political lines, there is further diversification. But within each party and within each group, there are still some who believe yes and some who believe no. To share with you, I believe yes. I root myself in two concepts. The first is our obligation to take care of the stranger, and the second, that we are all created in God's image. Our tradition says that we need to take care of the stranger because we were strangers in Egypt. We know what it was like to be slaves. We know what it's like to wander through the wilderness. We know what it's like to be uprooted. And everything that we do is based upon the notion that we were slaves in Egypt. We need to be fair to each other because we were slaves in Egypt. We need to be fair to the stranger because we were strangers. And we are obligated to help the stranger, to love the stranger as ourselves. And in my understanding, the stranger is the person who comes from away, who doesn't have a home anymore. And so that would be my first argument in favor of opening arms. The second argument comes from the fact that our Bible tells us we're created in God's image. God created humankind, male and female. Did God create them in God's image? And what does it mean to be in the image of God? It means that when you see another person, you're seeing God. You're seeing God's image. And you need to behave accordingly. For yourself, that means you need to take care of your body. It's an image of God. You wouldn't want God to be shabby. And it means for other people, treating them as if they're in God's image. It's a very broad range of ways that we need to behave. It generally means that we need to be nicer than we always are. But that's the other argument. Because we are created in God's image, and if we see that God's image, we need to help give God hope. And this goes not only for the refugees who are running away from war, but people who are finding themselves without a home and moving for any reason whatsoever. That's my feeling. That's my position. Am I advocating any changes in policy? No. Am I sharing with you what I feel and what I believe? Yes. I will tell you that after I gave a similar sermon on this topic, I received an email from my father. He said, "Good sermon, you changed my mind." So I wrote it down in my calendar. May we all be blessed as we return to our homes this evening, to have in mind those who are without a home, whether they are fleeing war, persecution, or fleeing poverty, or whether they have no home at all and are just on the streets. And have it in our hearts and minds to see them as a stranger, just like we were strangers in Egypt, a stranger that we need to care for, and to see them as not just a human being like us, but someone who is made in the image of the living God. Let's return to our service, the Ma'ariv service. Ma'ariv has two parts. Has the Shema and its 4 blessings, and the Amidah, which tonight is going to have 7 blessings. In the Shema, we are talking about the concepts of, number 1, the universe exists, we live in it, it's great. Number 2, us by God's law. Then we'll say, oh wow, God rescued us, redeemed us from Egypt. And as a bonus, God helps us out to wake us up when we fall asleep at night. After that, we'll have the Amidah, which is a series of prayers where we are having a conversation with God. We're trying to communicate with God. And how do we communicate? We say, God, we have a connection with you. You're very powerful. You're holy. Thank you for Shabbat. I'm enjoying it. I hope that my prayer was acceptable to you. I'm thankful for the opportunity to communicate with you, and please grant me completeness. That's our outline and our job tonight in the prayers. As individuals, we pray, and as a community, we try to keep on the same page. That's my job, is to keep you all on the same page, to conduct or to herd you all. So on page 39, why don't we rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We may be seated. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el hai v'kayam, tamid yimlach aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, hama'arev aravim. Page 40. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, amacha Avta Torah Kimamishpatim Otanu Limadeta Halakein Adonai Eloheinu Beshokveinu Uvekumeinu Nasiach Bechukecha V'nismach B'divrei Toratecha Uvemitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem hayenu ve'orek yamenu uvehem nege yomam v'layla Ki hem hayenu ve'orek yamenu uvehem nege yomam v'layla Hem hayenu ve'orek yamenu uvehem nege yomam v'layla Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'vatah tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavtaha et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha Veshinantaham levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtacha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot ha'yadecha v'hayu l'tutafo b'einenecha u'chatavtaham al mezuzah beitecha v'isharecha. We continue privately, page 42. V'haya Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor. Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 43. Information binding upon us. Page 44. Umalchuto baratzon kibalu alehem. Moshe uMiriam uvenei Yisrael lacha'anu shira b'simcha rabba v'maru chulam. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norati lo tosef Malchut acharu vanecha, bokeh yam lifnei Moshe, ze eli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ne'emar, Yifat Adonai Yaakov, ugolo miyad azak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu, l'chaim, l'shalom et aviad olam, ufros aleinu zukat shlomecha, Baruch ata Adonai, hapores zukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, hapores zukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 46, we rise as we are able. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz Uvayom hashevi Shabbat vayinafash Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba Elma divra kirotev yimlek machutei Bechayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari v'maru amen Yesh me rabba mevarach le'alam le'alme omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kodesh habrichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shehirata tushbechata v'nechemata tahamiran belma v'maru amen. We can daven privately beginning on page 47 through the end of the Amidah, page 52, or any words of your choosing. If you're still in the midst of your prayers, please feel free to continue. We rise as we are able, page 53. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chosvam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol Lakto asher asa, vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vaykadesh oto, kivo shavat mikol melachto, asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elokei avoteinu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagdol Hagibor v'Nora El Elyon, Konei Shamayim va'aretz, Magen Avod b'davaro, Mechaye Metim b'ma'amaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'ein kamohu, Hameniach lamo b'yom Shabbat HaKodesh, כי אם רצה להניח להם, כי אם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מהון הברכות. אל ההודעות, אדון השלום, מקדש השבת, מברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה, לימד שני עונג, זכר למעשה, למעשה וראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה ומנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותנקנו בתורתך, שבענו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך, וטהר ליבנו, וטהר ליבנו, לעובדך באמת, וטהר ליבנו, וטהר ליבנו, לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך וביאנוך וישראל מקדשי שמך ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. We may be seated, page 54. יתקדש ויקדש מרבה Belma divara kirtevim lek machutei b'chayachon v'yemachon v'chayetocho b'Yisrael b'galav zman kari v'maru amen yehesh meraba mevarach le'alam le'ome amaya yeparak v'yishtabak v'yitpar v'yitma v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalal shmei d'kadasha b'rechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tishpata v'nechmata Amen. Tigabah Sultan of Vatahondacho Yisrael Kodem Vavonda Veshmai Vimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Mishmai Vachayim Alena V'Ko Yisrael Vimru Amen. Oh say Shalom Shalom Bimramav Oh Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Aleinu Ve'Ako Yisrael Ve'Yimeru Amen. Which brings us to Kiddush, page 55. So I was asked whether we should do it now or at the end. And I'm going to tell you the reason that we do Kiddush in the synagogue is for the sake of people who might be staying overnight in the synagogue and will be eating their meal here and sleeping here, and therefore need to hear Kiddush here. In modern days, this doesn't happen that often. But there are, I suppose, people who rely on us to Kiddush, and so we say Kiddush for them. I have a colleague who was very adamant to try to eliminate Kiddush from his Friday evening service, and he was able to do that until someone said, no, actually, I rely on you for Kiddush tonight. The question of whether to do Kiddush now or later is, if we're doing it as part of the service and there's no meal in the synagogue, we do it now. But if we're having a meal in the synagogue later, are we having a meal in the synagogue later? No. If we were, we would skip Kiddush now, so that we could make it as part of our meal. There, I have taught something. I'll write that down in my calendar too. Page 55, we rise as we are able. Savri, Havarai, Havratai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, parei parei hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzonu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'hava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'masev reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziyad Misrayim, kivanu v'charta, ve'otanu kedashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. It's grape juice, don't worry. As we remain standing, let's continue with Aleinu, page 56. Aleinu shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam helkenu kahem, vegohor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, v'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim veyoser haaretz u'moshev yikaro b'shamayim mima'al u'shchinatu zo begavhei meromim hu Eloheinu einod emet mokeinu efezulato Hato viadam v'haivota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mimahal ve'al ha'aretz mitachat einod. Page 57. Al kenika v'lecha Adonai Eloheinu, and so Adonai our God, we await you. Hakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We may be seated. We extend our condolences to Eric, who is in the week of Shiva for his father. This week we observe the yahrzeits of Albert Walter Norsoff, Max Farb, and Gertrude Mayer. May their memories be for a blessing. Mourner's Kaddish can be found in our books on page 58. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divara kirute v'yemlich malchute v'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarak le'olam olamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei tekudeshat brichu le'ela min kol berchata tushbachata v'nechamata Amen. Yehei shlamar Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
kick off Rabbi Cantor.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I hope you all plan to be back here with us tomorrow morning, 9:30, same place, same channel, on Zoom or in person. I wanted to thank the following people for contributing to the Oneg Shabbat. Charles Podeitzer, the Kirsches in honor of Lee and Dora's birthday, and the Weinbergers in honor of Michael's birthday. I also wanted to thank Randy and Sherry Flager, who donated the flowers, and the colors and the sunflowers are in solidarity with Ukraine. So you didn't even know it, but you kind of talked about our themes, one of our themes. So thank you, the Flagers, for that. This week we have a very important holiday, especially if you're a kid, it's Purim. So you can see everything on the website. However, if you, everybody in the synagogue gets a Shlach Manot bag. So if you're going to be here on Purim, you can pick it up then. If not, you can always contact Barbara and find out how to pick them up. But I hope you're all here and can pick them up. Other things that are going on, Tuesday night at 7:45 is Film Club. Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. is Rabbi Weiss's series, Jews and Food. And then we have the Megillah reading also on Wednesday night and Thursday morning, and lots of fun to be had. Shabbat Shalom.
There's all sorts of options for what we can sing at the end. What have you all been singing lately? Yigdal. Okay. So, Ki Eshmer Shabbat has just not caught on yet. Oh, love it. Okay. Page 62. You like the slow melody or the fast melody? The fast melody. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach Nimsa v'enet el mitziuto Echad v'en yachid keyichudo Nelam v'en gam en sof le'achduto Ein lo demet haguf v'eino guf Lo na'arok elav kedushato Kadmon lachol davar asher nivra Rishon ve'in reshit le'reshito Hino adon olam ve'chol nosar Yoreh gedulato malchuto Shefa nevuato netano El anshe segulato v'tifarto Lo el kemo sheod Navi umabit et munato Torat emet natan le'yamoel Al yad neviyo neman beito Lo yachal lifael Velo yamir dato Le'olamim lezulato Sofeh ve'yodea setarenu Mabit losof davar bekadamato Gomel ish chesed kemifa Hello, noten rashara kerishato yishlach leketz yamim meshichenu lifnot mahakeketz yeshuato meitim yachayael berov chasto baruch hadei ad shem tehilato meitim yachayael berov chasto baruch hadei ad shem tehilato. Good Shabbos, everyone. Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Almost like a plan.
שחקי שחקי על החלומות, זו אני החולם צח, שחקי באדמה מי, כי עודני מאמין בך, שחקי באדמה מי, כי עודני מאמין בך, כי עוד נפשי דרור שואפת, לו בחרתי על עגל פז, כי עוד אאמין גם באדם, גם ברוחו רוח עז, כי עוד אאמין גם באדם, גם ברוחו רוח עז. שחקי שחקי